Hi, BrenTech here, where tech is made simple. So apparently, according to reports, Windows 11 is getting an option to change how much unified memory is set aside for graphics and AR work. So basically, you can free up more RAM for other applications. And as you may well know, this is a feature that was popularized by Apple. Now, a quick recap, if you don't know what unified memory or unified RAM is all about. Basically, it's a single shared pool of computer data storage, and it is used by both the main processor, CPU, and the graphics processor, GPU, at the same time. Now, normally in a traditional setup, the CPU uses standard system RAM, and the graphics card uses separate video RAM, VRAM. And data must be copied back and forth between them. In regards to a unified memory setup, both processors sit on the same chip and read from the exact same memory banks, so no data copying is needed. So that's where basically the benefit comes in, which means that it eliminates the delay of moving data between separate memory locations, which is faster. It will use less power and speeds up tasks like video editing and 3D rendering. And the graphics processor can use nearly all the system memory if a heavy task requires it. So those are the benefits of unified memory. Now, according to a post by Windows Latest, I'll leave it in the description, they have spotted references that have pointed to Windows gaining more control over how unified memory is reserved for graphics and AR workloads. And apparently it turns out that this has been spotted in recent Windows 11 preview builds, where there have been references. And that's in build 29,648.1000 in the Insider program, which is a hidden feature, which is called Intelligent Carve-Out with the feature ID. Here's the feature ID, along with a new settings handlers unified memory.dll file. And over and above that, it also contains the following strings: reserved memory for accelerators, memory for graphics and AR acceleration. Let Windows reserve additional unified memory for graphics and AR intensive games and applications. Reserved memory is not available for other applications. So those are some additional strings that have been spotted. Now, of course, it's an unreleased feature, so Microsoft's release notes say nothing about the feature as yet because it's hidden. So that means it's code that Microsoft is working on internally. Now, in Windows 11, if we head into our task manager, Windows already shows something called shared GPU memory in the task manager. Here you can see shared GPU memory. Okay. So on a normal so-called conventional PC, this is system RAM that Windows can make available to the GPU. Typically up to half your total RAM, depending on the hardware, OEM, BIOS, and drivers, and so on. And I'm running 8 gigs total on this device. That's why it's 3.9, almost 4 gigs that can be allocated to shared GPU memory. Now, although this is the case, this is not a fixed reservation. And Windows can use shared system memory alongside dedicated GPU memory depending on the actual workload. Now, this is different. It's not to be confused with what we're talking about today. This is different from what Microsoft is testing currently in the Insider program with the new unified memory. Because the new strings specifically talk about reserved memory, and Microsoft even notes that this memory would no longer be available to other applications. So basically, at the end of the day, Windows would then appear to be preparing an actual memory carve-out for graphics and AR workloads, which seems will give you an option to control how much of this memory you want to allocate to graphics or AR computing on your device, if and when this feature does roll out. So as mentioned, the feature to adjust this reserved unified RAM in Windows 11 is currently under the internal name called Intelligent Carve-Out. And at this stage, we don't know what the final settings page for adjusting the setting looks like, because obviously it's still a hidden feature. But it does point to the option being located under your settings, system, advanced. There's a good chance it'll be on this page. So interesting stuff. Thought this was interesting. So basically at the end of the day, Windows then will let you decide how much memory you can allocate to graphics and AR on PCs with the unified memory feature. And obviously I'll keep my ear close to the ground with this. It's still very much in its development phase. But if I get more information, I'll post and let you guys know. But let me know what you think down below regarding this. Good move or bad move? I'd be interested to hear. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.